kind of have a few things I want to talk about, but I know
Okay.
you're on a time crunch, so I'll try to keep it as concise as possible.
Okay.
So I really just want to start with budget.
Okay.
Kind of where are you thinking right now? I mean, what are your thoughts kind of coming into Corpus Christi's budget, how things have been handled? What are your overall impressions?
Okay. The budget is critical, a critical component of the city manager's duties. And from what I've heard, the city manager hasn't always been involved in the development of the budget. So that's one of the things I will be doing, is meeting with every director to go over their departmental budget plan for the fiscal year beginning October 1. And we need to look close at what they hope to do over that 12-month period beginning in October 1. We may be looking for some efficiencies too. How can they do what they're doing today better, maybe with less costs? We'll look at what can we do also that will address some of the issues the mayor and council has asked or has brought to my attention, and what the community is bringing to my attention, using our existing resources. The budget is really, for a city, and especially a city of this size, a key strategic plan for how we're going to progress over the next 12 months. And so developing the budget with thought and making sure we have good information and working with the teams, the directors, assistant directors, and the assistant city managers over those departments will be something that I'll be looking at. We have to be mindful of some of the legislative constraints that the state's placing on cities. There's a couple of bills that may get approved that would reduce the revenues to the city. And so that's a concern for every city manager, and really should be for every citizen. But we'll have to work through that as well in this budget process.
Are there certain issues? I know a few of the issues that we've come up with, like from the community, are like streets,
Yes.
water system,
Right.
Public safety in particular.
Right.
What are your thoughts on, I guess we'll start with streets.
Okay. Streets, that's one of the biggest things I've heard about now for months, and you can see just driving around in Corpus Christi. I think the good news is this funding mechanism's in place. The residents have approved dedicated property tax dollars to streets. There's the transportation user fee that the residents have imposed upon ourselves. So the good news is funding is available. We want to make sure, though, that the delivery, who's doing the delivery of the street improvements, whether it's city crews or contract crews, that we have the right alignment there, and making sure the right crews are doing the right jobs. Also looking at how we do the streets, is it asphalt or concrete? And timeliness is critical as well. And so I want to begin to look at where are we in the timeline. Are we behind? Should we be further ahead? And making sure we have clear schedule, clear expectations of how we will deliver the street. So the money's there. It's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot of money, obviously, to fix them. But if we have a system in place in terms of timeline, who's doing the work, if that is set up well, and we have a plan of attack year after year after year, we'll begin to see some noticeable differences.
And I want to talk about, obviously, the water system.
Right.
You probably are familiar with the fact, the water system here hasn't had a great history the past few years with a lot of water boils. What are you thinking here in the next year? So?
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking right now today is that is one of the biggest areas of concern for me. I'm going to meet with the director of the water department and his key staff routinely. I'm talking about weekly, maybe even twice a week. I want to better understand the water system. In San Antonio, where I came from, it was a separate entity. The city still had some oversight responsibility. But clearly here, the city is in charge of the water, and I do have some experience in that area, but I want to make sure that we're running that water system well, that we have the right people there as well, the right systems in place, making sure our machinery and equipment and technology, all that is in good shape. There's, I think, a city of this size with today's modern day age that we're in, there's really no excuse for having those water boils that the city has had before, and I want to make sure that that doesn't happen with my administration.
And public safety, Corpus Christi Fire Department, Police Department,
right.
Obviously they have certain budgets.
Mm-hmm.
They need more manpower.
Right. Public safety in a city the size of Corpus Christi is the biggest part of the budget, and it's something that citizens rely on every day. Right. We want to make sure our neighborhoods are safe, and we want to make sure we have fire and EMS there if we need them. Both those teams are critical, and we need to embrace them as a city. We need public safety, we need strong police and strong fire. We're going to look at the staffing levels for both. I've already spoken with the police and fire chiefs, and I have heard from some council members in the community that additional police officers and additional EMS staff, firefighters to serve in the emergency management vehicles is something we may need to look at this budget. So we'll be working with those directors, the chiefs I should say, when we develop their budgets in the coming weeks.
I know, kind of moving on a little bit, more so about, I guess I really want to talk about trust, because the community in Corpus Christi, I feel like they've almost felt as if they've kind of been on the back burner, and it's been a while since, we've had a city manager, especially with your status. So are you feeling the pressure right now, or how do you think you can kind of gain the trust, I guess, of Corpus Christi?
Right, trust was a key thing. I even was preparing for the issue of trust for the interview, and it was one of the interview questions that the mayor and council asked me. How can we know we can trust you? And I think the answer I told them is when I would tell the residents here that trust is a commitment that I am giving to the community, and the best, people don't have time to do this, but the best way to find out can you trust me is to see who I've been working with over the past 22 years. And I think when I tell a group of citizens or even an individual, if I'm going to do something, my track record has shown that I've done that. My word is really one of the most important things, and I want the residents to know that if they ask for something or the community asks for something, and if I promise I'm going to try to deliver it, then I'm going to do that. And so trust is critical. I tell my 3 sons that as well, my 3 boys, that we have to have confidence in what you're telling us. And if you lose the trust, then it's tough to really progress forward. So I want the community to know that I'm here to help them. This is a deliberate choice that I've taken to relocate my whole family to Corpus Christi. And it's really to help the community, and I'm glad I'll be a part of that big change that's going to happen.
Moving forward, is there anything else besides those 3 things, streets, water, and public safety? Is there anything else that really stands out to you?
We mentioned development services. One of the key things that the community, especially the development and housing community, has asked for is a better development services process. The reason for development services is to ensure that the homes that are being built and the businesses and the industrial facilities are safe for the worker and safe for somebody living in the home. And so it's an important function of any government, but we need to improve processes. We need to improve timeliness. We need to improve the customer service approach, and we also need to improve consistency in how we interpret the codes set by state and federal agencies. And so that's something that we're going to look at right away, is how can we improve that development services process. We have some things that are already underway because of the calendar, that's dictated by the calendar or the city charter, and we mentioned already the budget, and so we're going to be working on the budget. Others include the landfill operations. That's an issue that City Council was addressing this week, and that'll be something we have to address over the next several weeks. So those are some of the other things that we're looking at. My biggest focus, though, in the short term is looking at the organization and making sure we have a strong, professional, high-performing organization. And I will be meeting with all the directors, assistant directors. In fact, that's my first meeting, my first day of the job, Monday at 8:30. We're going to meet with all the directors. I'll give them my expectations, a little bit about myself, and talk to them. But we'll be assessing talent and making sure we have the right people and the right jobs. And there's a few vacancies right now as well, so we'll be talent recruiting as well. So those are some of the other things we'll be working on immediately.
And I guess just moving forward also, Monday morning you said you have the 8:30 meeting. What else does your schedule look like for Monday?
Monday is, it's really a series of meetings, meet and greet. I have a few meetings with city council members. Over the next week and a half, I'm going to make sure I meet with every council member. And then it's the executive, some assistant city manager meetings and department head meetings. That's primarily it for Monday, and Tuesday's something similar. There's several citywide functions I'm going to be attending as well. There's a Port Authority event this coming week that I'll be going to as well.
And my last question, because because I know you gotta go. I can see you moving. Your family, you know,
Yeah.
you mentioned your 3 boys, your wife.
Right.
Have y'all already, you know, established yourselves here in Corpus?
Yeah, not quite yet. We have an established place in north of Sinton in that St. Paul area, and that's where I'm kind of camping out of right now. But my family's coming down the Memorial Day week, and we have 3 appointments already set up with 3 of the school districts to talk about their academic programming and their sports programs as well. And then we'll be looking at homes as well in areas of Corpus Christi.
Anything about Corpus that you're most excited about?
The challenge, I think, is the most exciting part. There's a lot of, there's almost a mandate, I think, from the community for some change in how the city government operates. And so that's the thing that excites me the most. This is a beautiful city. My last couple of days here in the downtown area, you can kind of sense the ocean is just not too far off is a real cool thing as well.
Cool, Peter.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to mention before I let you go?
No, I think that's it. Thank you for
Okay.
being here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Okay.